Mesechta Menochos Daf Chav Beis Amar Aleph. We're starting from the third line from the top, and we're going to start from the word Ve'etzim. David, what happened to David? Okay. Ve'etzim the Pshita, correct. Yeah. Yesterday we learned, we had a shot of an Agaya to Melech. From who does the Melech come from? From his own house? Or does it come from the Tzibur? So you might have said, if we compare it to Lavina, the salt. Melech? No. Melech is sitting over here. Yeah? Okay. He's salt, he puts flavor into our food, but he's Melech. And there's Melech, there's salt. Okay. Melech. Oh wow, Cecil. No. Okay. Anyway, Bekitza, yesterday we had a shaila if milk has to come from your own pocket, like Levena, or we compare it to Eitzim, and Eitzim comes from the Tzibur. Says the Gemara, Eitzim the B'shita le'Latana the Mishal Tzibur Menolan. You're saying yesterday you said you could compare Melech to Eitzim, that Melech the Eitzim comes from the Tzibur, so to Melech. From how do you know B'shita is that Eitzim comes from the Tzibur? The Gemara the Tanya that we learned the Raisa, Yachol, maybe you'll say, one who takes upon himself to bring Ayla, then he has to bring the wood from his house. Maybe in the Sachim, just like he brings the Sachim from his house. Talmud Leimer comes the pasuk and tells us, Al ha'etzim ashala eish ashala mizbeach. The pasuk compares the Eitzim, the fire of the Mizbeach, to the Mizbeach. Ma Mizbeach Mishal Tzibur, just like the Mizbeach, it was from the Tzibur. It says that David HaMelech bought the Makom HaMizbeach with the money that all the Shvatim had collected. So you see, the Mizbeach was from the Tzibur. Afa Eitz Ma'esh Mishal Tzibur. So too, the Eitzim and the Eish was from the Tzibur. That's the raid of Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Again, Bekitzer, yesterday was Bepshitas, we learned that Eitzim comes from the Tzibur. You might ask, from where do you know that? So you might have said, from the Pasuk, Ashal Eitz, Mashal Eish, Alam Mizbeach, it says in one Pasuk to compare the Eitzim to the Mizbeach, just like the Mizbeach, David HaMelech bought from all the money that was collected by all the Yidden, came from the Tzibur. So two the Eitzim is from the Tzibur. Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua says, in addition to that, Ma Mizbeach shaloi nishtamish b'hedyet, af Eitzim ha'eish shaloi nishtamish b'hedyet. We learn out also from the word Mizbeach that just like the Mizbeach was never used, it was never used by a person. It says, the stones that they built the Mizbeach were from karka bisula, from naya karka, from karka that was never used. They couldn't use earth that they used once before. Virgin karka, yeah. So it's just like the Mizbeach was never used. So too, organic. But that doesn't mean original.
Organic is not original.
Could be it was used, yeah. But here we're saying psula was a virgin, never used. So just like the Mizbeach was never used. So too the eitzim and the fire is it has to be that it was never used by a hedget. What's the chilik between Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua and Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon? Says the difference is chadati. If you have to have brand new, meaning if it was used before or not, could it be used? Could the eitzim be used? If it was used before. No, I'm saying Hashal Eitzim. Okay, anyway, fact you want to articulate loy. Old, you're saying old ones you cannot use? Something that was used from before, eitzim that was used from before you cannot use. You want to see? It says by Aravna Hayevusi, David HaMelech came to him. He says, "I need this place. This is the place where the Beis Hamikdash love is going to be built. Please, I want to buy this place of you." So it seems like Aravna wanted to give him for free, but Aravna was helping him out to buy it. Aravna el David Yikach, take this. Going on.
Take for nothing.
Yeah, no, here not. He says, "Let my master, the king, do what's good in his eyes." Rei habaka, look, I have a chabaka. Nem the baka here, take it, leila for oila. The hamurgim uklei habaka leitzim. He says, I have the tools that you use for the feld, and I have the clay habaka, the kalim that you use for the oxen, to that they should, or the way they should walk in a line or whatever. And they're all made out of eitzim. He says, it's taken for eitzim, to brachas, and make a fire. You can use it. So you see, you could use eitzim. He was giving him old tools.
Yeah, sure.
He was giving him tools, and he said, use it. And it says that David HaMelech Taka used it for the fire. So you see, you don't need brand
There
new.
was no wood? I don't know what kind of wood. There was no wood that time?
It was mamish spontaneous. He came to buy the land. He says, you know what? Here's the land. Make you some mizbech. Never mind a baka. Here, take my tools. Mach gleich a carbon. Bring a teil Hashem. So he says, "Hachanami b'chadati." Here it could be these tools came out of Home Depot. They were still in its package. They didn't take off the packages, so there were new tools. It's either from Home Expo, Home Depot, or whatever. From Lowe's. Yeah. So the mother, my Morgan. What kind of a tool is Morgan? A mita shel turbo. It's a mita shel turbo. Mother, thank you. One Chinese word to the next. Well, my mita shel turbo. What's mita shel turbo? He says. Rabbi Yehuda says, Iza de kurkisa. Iza de kurkisa is a board. It's like it slants down a little bit, and on the bottom is a lot of spikes, a lot of needles, which you could with them you thresh the floor. That's how you thresh the tvua with it. Rabbi Yosef said, "My kra." From which pasuk is araya that's what it is. So you see the word moirak? Chorutz. He says, behold, I put before you the moirak with that have sharp teeth, chodash, which is brand new, bal pefiyus. Bal pefiyus means that they're sharp, and todash harim, it threshes the mountains, v'sadek, and it breaks it into pieces. He says that's the kind of a tool it was. It was a tool, a big board, and that's a small one. But it had a big board like a sled, but on the top it went up a little bit, and it had a whole bunch of spikes, tzeindalach on the bottom. That it when it went on the floor, it threshed the floor. Okay.
So what's the bottom line?
Bottom line, it was a new piece. So he says that's the chilik between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua. Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua says we learn out from Mizbeach has to be brand new, because just like the Mizbeach it was made from Karka Pesula, so too the eights has to be brand new. Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Shimon said no, the only limit we learned is that it comes from a tzibur. Punkt b'yam Mizbeach came from the money of a tzibur, so did the eights. Okay, zog the Mishnah.
Both have the same name.
Rabbi Elazar, not the last names.
No, Rabbi Elazar
Ben Shammua and Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Shimon. It's two different people. Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua. No, Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua. Yeah, but one is Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua. He's from Shammai. Shammua is from Shammai.
Okay, but they didn't call. Here it says both the father's name, but even how they called him, they called that Rabbi Elazar.
It's two different Rabbi Elazar. Okay. Anyway, sagt the Mishnah. The sort of kumtza. If the kmitza got mixed with the kmitza of a different mincha, or by minchas koyanim, we are not good as minchas koyanim because minchas koyanim officially has the same amount of oil as the kmitza of a regular minchas nadava. But minchas koyim Mashiach, all the kmitza got mixed up with minchas koyim Mashiach, or by minchas nesachin. Now the difference is by minchas nadava you only used one loig shemen. But by a minchas koyam Mashiach and a minchas nesach, there was no kmitza. That's number one. But number two is they had 3 lugin shemen mixed with the dough. There's a lot more oil. So it doesn't matter if the kmitza got mixed up with a minchas nesachma, minchas koyam Mashiach, sheira. Rabbi Yehuda.
Why is that? Because it's
Oh, you're going to see why. Rabbi Yehuda is going to explain why it shouldn't be kosher. Rabbi Yehuda says, if the koyimets got mixed up in minchas koyim Mashiach, or minchas nesachim, if the minchas from the minchas nadava, which is only one loig, that got mixed up with a minchas kai meshich or minchas nesach, which is 3 lugin shemen, psula is going to be possible. Shezu by a minchas nedava with the kmitza is only 1 like shemen. Bli lasa ava. The mixture, the flour is still thick because there was only 1 like shemen. The zu by the minchas nesach and the kayim hamashiach. Bli lasa rak. It's very soft. It has so much oil. 3 lugin shemen.
It's watery.
It's watery, yeah. And the problem is when the kmitza got mixed up, it says there's a shear that you need. The Torah says zoklach shear. 3 lugin shemen from minchas nesachim. Here comes our koimetz, which is thick, and it's going to absorb from the 3 lugin shemen from that oil. So it's going to be less than 3. And the koimetz is supposed to be, the minchas nedav is supposed to be 1 lug. Oh, but it absorbed more. So once both of them are not going to be good. The minchas nedava got too much oil. The minchas nesachim had fallen oil. And the state this is shiurim. Beide fallen the shiurim. One or two is too coming to fill. One is given over beval teisef, and the other one was in the nachsa. Sagt die Gemara, Tan has we learned in the Mishnah, in our Mishnah in this Vachit. Dam. If the dam of kochim that was not yet, it wasn't noch nicht gespitzt auf dem Mizbeach. But before they got a chance in the mizrak with the makabel dam, somebody by mistake put in some water. So I was like, the Gemara, no, he didn't realize that there's dam in it. It got mixed up with water. If it still has the look,
it's like the mikveh.
if it looks still, if it looks like dam. Okay, if it looks like dam, it's dam.
We don't care if the dam is thin. No.
Yeah, we don't care as long as it looks. Okay,
Looks count.
kosher. Yeah, looks count only by zikz adam, but not when it comes to tam, or not when it comes to, because meaning not when it comes to hetachila, because by hetachila we go after the tam, we don't go after the mada. By zikz dam is found a special limit. We go after the mada, after the looks. Sagt die Gemara, 1 second. So now, this had to be yain. If it got mixed up with wine, now they're both red. So he says, we look at the wine, how much wine do we mix? And we look at the wine as if it was water. So take that share of wine and use it by a different dam with water, the same share, and see if it'll change. If it remains red, that share of water that he had in share of yayin, if that share of wine, red. But he says if it would have been water, would have it changed the color of dam or not? That's how we look at it.
Right now it's okay.
It's the same color, but you have to here it's yayin. So we have to look at that as if the yayin is mayim. And if it would have been mayim, and it would have that share of yayin would have changed in mayim, would have changed the matter of dam, then it would be possible. And if not, it's kosher. So he says, we look at the yain as if it's mayim. And so too, if it got mixed up with the dam behema of chulin, and this is a kodesh, the dam, this is supposed to be sprayed on the mizbeach. Oy bedam chaya, which is always dam chulin, because dam chaya we never put on the mizbeach. You say we look at the dam of the chulin ki ilu mayim. Same thing. You look at how much blood from chulin was it, and water. If the water would have changed the color, then it's possible. You have to measure it, correct. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Nein, dam mevatel dam. As it comes to dam, I don't care as if even a pitching from dam with another dam from dam kosher the shear to vafen the zayin zikis is given from dam kosher. It was from dam kosher that got mixed up with a holy rav of dam chulin. It still wouldn't be in his bottle. Because dam is ain't mevatel, ain't dam mevatel dam. It's min b'min ain't mevatel. Huh? It is hegdish. Right, he says because they're both dam. Min b'min is nish bottle. There was a story in my bungalow colony. We were in suburban bungalow colony. I don't know if you were there, but your brothers were there. Both Michal was there, Berka was there. We were all in suburban, and Avram Arn, Rabashkin was there.
It was the beginning.
Beginning. So I was a little kid, but I remember that the women had a time to swim and the men had a time to swim. But Moshe Rabashkin said the women have too much time. They should get 5 minutes a day. That's it. He went up on the tree, took a basket of apples, and he started to throw it into the pool on the women. So they ran to the head of the bungalow colony. His name was Papa Louis. He was exactly like Moshe. Motza minas minei. He comes to life and he says, Moshe kim du arup. He says, if you don't come down, ich kim arup. He ran down. He knows I'm sure going to be up. Motza minas minei. Okay.
The same dam.
the same blood, yeah. Aber Rabbi Yochanan hat gesagt, Shneim mikra echad darshu. They both, we learn both, meaning the Chacham and Rabbi Yehuda both learn out from the same pasuk. What does it say? It says that you take the dam hapar and the soyer, even when they're mixed, it says take from the dam hapar, do your sprays. And then it says, take from the dam hasoyer, do your sprays. So how could you be taken from the dam hasoyer if the Hadavi Yadush, no, they were mixed together. And Hadavi Yadush Shapam, and Rubim and Dam Soyer was so much more than the soyer. The soyer, the Kedam, should have been bottled. And we said it's not bottled. We called it dam hasoyer. If he took from the mixture, he says the first part went for the dam hapar, the second part was called dam hasoyer. How could you call it dam hasoyer? There was so much more from the dam hapar. But nevertheless, because Mim B'min ain't in this battle, I feel even if there's a pitchivka enough, the shear to the Zika, and the dam hasoyer, it still remains. Rabbanan say no. Mekan la'oilin. He says, here we learn out anything that comes on the Mizbeach, she'ein mevatn zeh. He says it has nothing to do with min b'minoi. He says 2 things that come on the Mizbeach are never, one is never bottled to the other. Nothing to do with min b'minoi. And since the dam hasoyer and the dam hapar were both mixed, they were on the Mizbeach, that's why, even if they wouldn't have been the same min, it wouldn't be bottled, because once it's oila,
What's the avodah? What, you take the dam hapar and
you bring it up on the Mizbeach. Either some of it you put on each corner, 7 goes on the Mizbeach. Yeah, but you did the same sprays, 7 and 7. Dam hapar with dam hasoyer.
What's the shayla if he didn't, you know?
So he proved to you before, Rabbi Yehuda proved that the mina is not bottled because you sprayed one mitzad the dam hapar, and they were mixed. And then you sprayed again. You said, okay, now this is for the dam hasoyer. Yeah, sure. And you said now the second set of sprays is for the soyer. Even though the dam hapar was much more, it was mevatel. It's not bottled. But came the Chacham and said it had nothing to do with min b'minoi. The reason why it wasn't bottled because he holds anything that's oil on the mizbeach doesn't become bottled. So as the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda something min b'minoi ain't a bottle. But Rabbi Yehuda learned no. From here you have a raya, min b'minoi is not bottled. So each one learned their limud, their way. Says the Gemara, Rabbanan Sa. Oh, 1 minute. Rabbanan Savri mekan la'oilin she'em mevatel zamizeh. We said because they were both on the Mizbeach, the Parvis, they're not bottled. How do you know? The Dilma, Mishum the Miminehu. Maybe like Rabbi Yehuda said, because they were both blood. There was Dama Par, Dama said they're both blood, so it's Mimimine. That's why he wasn't bottled. Says the Gemara, if he's only come to tell you that Min B'mina is not bottled and nothing to do with Eilim, like you want to say, and we would have learned from the pasuk, Min b'mina is not bottle. Hashtag dashmina and oilen. Now that the pasuk taught us that there's no beetle when it's oilen al hamizbeach, so we should have concluded it's that reason is mishum de oilen. The reason why it's not bottle is because it's oilen, not because of min b'mina. That's what the Rabbanan is saying. Yeah, that the chalkei of the taruvis are not because they're minim shavim. It's if he should have said it's mishum oilen.
What's wrong with saying because it's min b'minoi?
Huh?
Why does he disputing that?
What do you mean?
The Rabbanan is saying if we have a choice of which to use.
if you're saying he's coming to teach us min b'minay, so he should have said min b'minay. The Rabbanon should have said. But what did the Rabbanon say? What was the tam? Oilam, because Oilam are not mevatel. If he's telling, he's saying we should have finished. She'ein bittul hu mishum de'oil. If the real time was because of min b'minay by the Chachamim should have said it because min b'minay ain't a battle. But what did they say? What was the lashon? Mekan la'oilin she'ein mevatel zeh. Is that right? The Rabbanon didn't say because of min b'minay. They said because of oilin.
So what is he asking them? That they should have mentioned that?
No, maybe the Rabbanon. You said the Gemara says the Rabbanon said mekan la'oilin she'ein mevatel zeh. Maybe it was because of min b'minay, just like Rabbi Yehuda. How do you know the Rabbanon was saying any different than Rabbi Yehuda? Because they use the lashon mekan la'oilin. They should have said.
Maybe it also means min b'minay.
He should have said he should have said because it's min b'minay.
Why should they?
Look,
They should have said.
Yeah.
But they say it's not because of that. They said because of oil. It doesn't have to do with min b'minay. Because if it's not a min, as soon as it's not a mizbeah, it doesn't become bottle. So what is he asking? Shum the Dilma Adik.
He's again. You said the abundance. No, that's the next kasha. That's the next kasha. We asked the Gemara is asking on the words of Rabbi Yochanan, the beer of the mucker of the Chachamim. They yes, abundance. He says, how do you know? So he says maybe the reason why the Dama is not misbatel, but Dama Par is mishum the min b'minayu, like Rabbi Yehuda, not because Eilan ain't mevatlin. So he says.
But they have a different opinion.
So he says if they were out to tell us that there's no bittul by min b'minay and not to tell us there's no bittul by taruv shalaylin, then what did the pasuk teach us in the din? That there's no bittul b'mikra shalaylin. So you see, it's mishum da'ilin. It's not because of. It's not because.
How do you see that? Maybe it's because it's min b'minay, ain't a bottle.
Here he brings down the din of min b'minay. You want to say is not bottle, right? If you want to say that's a general din that's shaykh in every place, and not only by kabbanas, right? So since the pasuk is teaching us she'ein bittul agabe kabbanas, so we could conclude from here there's no din klali being in taruvas min b'minay. It's only a special din because of Eilan. There's a din klali min b'minay in a bottle, right? So he says if it's mitzad the din klali that min b'minay in a bottle, right? So and you want to say so by mizbeach there's no need to say by mizbeach. What do you say by mizbeach? You want to say it's not mitzad min b'minay. The Chacham said from this that you mentioned by kabbanis, there's no that by kabbanis is not bought because of Eilan. Is that right? Because they don't hold the min b'minay is bought by kabbanis.
Okay.
Because if so, they shouldn't have said nothing. It's a general din that min b'minay is not bottle.
They didn't have to say even a beg.
He says a din shemin b'minay in a bottle, right? If it's a din koli hashayich b'chol makom loirak legabe kabbanis. So din koli kazeh should have said this din kloli of shouldn't have said dafka by kabbanis. Why is it saying by kabbanis? It's by everything, right? Since the pasuk is teaching, so since the pasuk is teaching us dafka by a din kabbanis that there's no bittul, so we can conclude here he's coming to tell us a different din. That here it's not but because of din of the din special din by oilin. Because if you want to tell us min b'minay ain't a bottle, it should have said it not dafka by kabbanis. Okay, Zak the Yemara. The Dilma the min b'minay. Maybe you need both. Maybe you need side min b'minay and side oilin. Says you want a kasha by kabbanis. Maybe you need both. He says kasha. It's taka kasha. Rabbi Yehuda savar mikon lemin b'minay she'ein a bottle. We said that Yehuda holds min b'minay is not bottle. In fact, you might have a dilma. Maybe the reason why the soy is not bottle by the dam apart is mishum de oilin hu, because he said it by kabbanis, like the Chacham said it. If it's min b'minay ain't a bottle, it's all over. Why do you say by kabbanis? It's obviously when you're talking about mitzad the oilin, Says you want to if the din that you want to tell us mitzad oilin, so min b'sheina oilin, so you should have said a case of min shebeina b'minay, a case of min b'sheina b'minay. Kidikamet, like you were saying. You're saying it's only because oilin ain't mevatlin. Why'd you have to give me a case of min b'minay? Give me a case of min b'sheina b'minay.
Tell me two bloods.
Two bloods. Tell me a case of min sheina b'minay. What's tuela, mincha and dam, or whatever, the levena and the dam, whatever. So the problem. Then you would be dafke mitzad oilin, and not because of min b'minay. But he chose a case of min b'minay. Yeah, why are you saying it? Why are you saying it by kabbanis? Obviously, you're talking about oilin, and so Rabbi Yehuda is answering. Because if it was only because of Eilen, he should have chosen a case of min sheina b'minay. Hashlash mina min b'minay. But now that you're teaching us a case of min b'minay, blood and blood, mishum the min b'minay. It's because of min b'minay. In fact, you might have a dilma adi ka min b'minay Eilen. Maybe only when you have min b'minay and Eilen, it's going to be good. Kasha is taka good kasha. I will go a little further. Tonight I have still time. Then we learned the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Ima, by Minchas Kohen Moshiach, ube Minchas Nesachim, Psula. It's going to be puzzle. Why? Shazu Blilasa Ova. By a Minchas Nedava, it's one look, so it's a thick Mincha. Vezu, but by the Minchas Hanesachim or the Kohen HaMashiach, you needed 3 lugin for the so Blilasa Raka, so it's much softer. They absorb from each other. One is getting too much, and Minchas Nadav is getting too much oil, and the Minchas Nesachim is losing from the 3 lugin. In fact, who cares if it's absorbing one from another? Min b'minehu. If we said min b'minehu in his bottles, it doesn't become bottle. It's like it was before. Rabbi Yehuda holds kol shehu. Any taruvis which is min b'minay vidavacher, salik es minay. Then we move away the min b'minay, kimi she'ena, as if it's not there. She'enay minay. Now the enay minay is rava alav u'mavatlei. What does that mean? He says you have min b'minay is the oil. They both have oil. One has 1 lug oil, minchas nedava, and the minchas nesachim has 3 lug in oil. He says we remove the nesachim, the oils, to the side, as if it's not there, as if it's on one side, let's say, and then you have the soilus from the mincha, which is very thick, which is going to be the raiv. Min shein mina is going to be mavatal. That's what he's saying. It's going to be mavatal.
How do you move the oil to the side?
He said min mina. You make kimi sheina as if it's moved to the side, as if it's not in the soilus. That's what he says. Yeshliris to Sashem Shalak Koimetz. Shehu mina shel shemen shel minchas nesachim. Okay, that's the min of the oil with the minchas nesachim by the kaimetz. Kilu nistalik ma'ataruvis veina kaimetz, as if it was removed. The oil was removed from the taruvis. Venim sashash soilas shel kaimetz, the soilas of the kmitz. I'm sorry, the minchas kaimetz is right. Is the soilas, and you make kilu nistalik. You make the shemen as if it was removed to the side. Now you're going to find that the Einei Minei, which is the silas, is much more than the oil.
But the fact is it's not, because you have the oil mixed in.
Yeah, but still, if you look at it as 2 separate minim, the silas is still more. If the silas is always going to be more, then it will come nothing. Yeah. Full of sailors, sure. So it's not mixed in. So it's min shein, so it's going to be bottle. I have to stop.